Hi everyone, it's Sally here. I just finished this one this morning. It's a cover I made myself. I just used the front cardboard piece and a back cardboard piece and then a piece for the spine. And then I chose a fabric cover, and this is actually a piece of a kantha quilt from India. It's beautiful, has all those stitches in it. So I decided to dress it up a little bit, and I added a piece of a doily. I actually used some spray inks to color that. It was white and I wanted it to have some color, so I used some pink and a little bit of yellow to go with the cover. And then I cut this butterfly out of a different doily and decided to add an elastic closure, and I just chose a pretty simple vintage glass button. This was one that came from my grandmother's button box, and it's a shank button, so it is really easy to get the elastic around that. And for the elastic, I used that same technique I did on that one that I made that was an accident, but I kind of like it. So the elastic is through these eyelets and just wraps around the back and then closes. So it doesn't interfere with the cover at all, which I like. And I actually kept the elastic tied loosely, so there's some adjustability in there if you want to lengthen it or tighten it up shorter. It's up to you. I kept it a little on the loose side because, as you can see, this one's pretty chunky. So as you can see, it's kind of has a little bit of a gator mouth to it. It has some little charms that hang out the bottom. And so the inside cover is also fabric, and it's stitched. So I just stitched here and then stitched along the spine. I love this fabric. It's vintage bark cloth. It's in really good condition. I have quite a collection of old fabric like this from, that people used for curtains and furniture and stuff like that, pillows. It's a nice heavy material and, beautiful print. And I wanted to use the colors that were in this fabric to kind of, match my signature covers. So I chose this marbleized paper and some vintage wallpaper. And it has 2 signatures. So I'll try to go through pretty fast because there's a lot to look at and I don't want this to be too long. So in this little front pocket, I have one of my collage tags and this little bookmark, which has this beautiful little cutout and some gold lettering. It's just a really pretty bookmark. I've had it for a long time and just decided I would use it. So it's Asian Garden. That's what I'm calling this one because it has a lot of Asian art, which I love. That's one of my favorite things. And also flowers, so Asian Garden. Sort of East meets West. So this is from the Flowers in Color book. I thought the color of those flowers went nice with that paper there. And on this side, it was just writing, so I stitched a different page on top of that of a jacaranda tree. And then inside the pocket is this little paper fan with these little origami dolls on it. And so when I say Asian Garden, I mean all the Asian countries. So I love Chinese art, Japanese art, Indian art, and there's some of all of those in here. Even Hawaii, which I consider kind of an Asian garden too. So this is an envelope I got at a little shop in Eugene that carries a lot of imports from India and Nepal, and that's where this little envelope came from. And inside is this Hawaiian lady. I think this is probably taken World War II, probably from some sailor, by some sailor. That's the original. I used tea stained paper, beet dyed paper, onion skin dyed paper, avocado dyed, and some of the plum tea dyed paper, which turned blue. So lots of colored paper. I use stencils to add a lot of texture and interest. So here's one of my collage clusters, which I'm using as a tuck spot for this fan, which is actually, it's a postcard. Not sure how the U.S. mail would go for it, but that's what it is. And this is avocado dyed deli paper page from a book about animals, birds, and a fussy cut bird there. So this is the onion skin dyed paper, which has that nice orange color. Oh, and I did include a little bit of Western art too. That's Picasso, from my Picasso book. That's the plum tea dyed paper, which turned that pretty shade of blue. And the pages didn't quite fit, and I hated to cut all those ends off, so some of them I left long as a fold out. Here's some handmade paper from Nepal. That's actually part of a stationery set I have. So I just made a little pocket here. This actually is a page from a book about sewing, and I just thought the children were so cute, and I added this little stationery set that I bought, I think probably about 12 years ago in a gift shop. I think it comes from China. The Dumpling Dynasty. They have such cute little images on there. And inside is a Chinese American flashcard. That's blue right there in Chinese. Some stamping on fabric, onion skin dyed paper. See here, it came out yellow. It kind of sometimes depends on the paper. Here I added some stenciling to my tea dyed paper. This is a fabric belly band with another one of those Dumpling Dynasty stationaries. This is actually the envelope, which I think are so cute. Look at that. And then surprise, on the inside it's red. And a collage tag I made with a Buddha. So this one has a fold out. I just decorated that with a postage stamp. A page from a bird book. And then here I added a pocket. This is some of that Tim Holtz wallpaper packs, paper that he was selling a few years ago. And inside a seed packet with some marigold seeds. Little collage cluster there. And here, and a flip out. I just like this art book, and the pictures in it are so colorful, so I decided to add that. Plus, there's pictures on both sides. And here's a collage cluster, some deli paper that's been dyed. This is the beet dyed paper here. And some rice paper that I used for the pockets here. I ordered this paper from, I think, the Ukraine a few years ago, and it was collage paper, you know, like for rice paper with little flowers and things, and you do a collage with it. This paper really didn't work for collage, so I thought I'd make it into a pocket. So on this side is a tag with a collage base, and then overhead projector film picture printed and stitched over that, and some ledger paper in the back. And a photo of a lady. She looks like she's getting ready to go on a hike, and she's putting her boots on. Maybe she's in China. And then on this side is a friend of mine gave me some pages from a book she had that had safety match pictures. I love the pictures that are on matchboxes. I mean, it's a real art form, and a lot of them came from India. This one says made in Sweden, but you know, it doesn't even, it looks like something from India. So I just turned it into a journal tag. I put some book page on the back, and then here's a piece of rice paper. So in this little pocket in the deli paper, it's just this image that I cut from a magazine. I thought it was pretty, and I backed it with a book page, which I kind of liked what the back was. It was some poetry. So I used the side with the words on it instead of the blank side. There's the rest of that art book page. And this was black embossing powder on deli paper, which I tore out and then glued down to this page here. So I like doing that. You get that effect of embossing without having to actually do it on the paper. Some birds. This is some Japanese washi paper with some stationery inside. That's stamped on another piece of paper and then glued down. This is the other paper that I got from the Ukraine, which was decoupage paper. It's printed on really thin rice paper. You don't cut it. You can just use your water brush and just kind of paint around it and then tear it apart. So it's kind of like napkin, only a little bit sturdier. So there's the rest of the fabric from that belly band. And some tea-dyed paper with stencils and some ink. This cluster has an opening, so it's also a little tiny tuck spot. It's one of those Spanish language flashcards, and just this little heart that's die cut kind of a thing. So here's a collage page. I wasn't really interested in what was underneath, so I collaged some different papers. This is some of that decoupage paper from the Ukraine. A no snag paper clip, and this is a prayer flag from Nepal that I turned into a little pocket for this little ticket that says Chinese garden. And then here's another one of the Dumpling Dynasty envelopes. So aren't those adorable? I just think they're so pretty, and of course they're red on the inside. So this one has just an assortment of different papers in it. Some tissue paper I have, a piece of that, some origami paper. These are handmade papers. That's a little bit of the stationery that goes with that. The rest of that handmade stationery, and this page got a little tear in it when I was doing the dyeing, so I used some of the faux cellophane tape that Pam Barbie gave me. I like the look of that on there. Another Picasso print, but they have blank space on the back, so it makes good journaling space. Another dyed page with I used plastic doilies in that batch. Just a little collage there, some birds. Avocado dyed deli paper. Little corner tuck spot with a collage on it, and inside it is a Hello Kitty playing card and some leaf skeletons in pink and purple. So here's the rest of that envelope. And inside is this picture. It's an old photo I found at an antique store. I just thought the lady in the picture looked like an artist. So I have made copies of it. I actually scanned it. And chrysanthemums from the flower book, and these are fussy cut. Sometimes I just like to sit and do that. It's very relaxing. So here's the end of the signature and a collage tag with just some assorted papers. Very colorful. Did some stitching on that one. So here's the second signature. This one has a belly band. And in here are a little miniature set of prayer flags from Tibet and a little information about prayer flags and an envelope I got at that shop in Eugene that I love. So there's nothing in the envelope. You can put whatever you like in there. This is a heliotrope, and here are some flowers that I think go perfectly with this matchbox art. I have a few flowers to it. Love the orange. These are some more matchbox covers and a prayer flag. Some handmade paper here that just has a nice little torn edge. Just happened to have that scrap. It was part of an envelope, but this was a good place to use it. And here is, I made a little fabric flip out of a part of a pillowcase. So you could write something personal underneath it so no one can see it. Little collage. This is a flip out. So it's some tea-stained scrapbook paper and paper doilies, and it just opens up like this. So you have extra writing space there. Because the back of this page had text on it. And then a little journaling card inside with a print, a Japanese or Chinese print of a koi fish on some joss paper, and an old book page on the back which still had somebody's name on it, which I kind of thought was cool. The handwriting is beautiful. It looks like fountain pen. So that just slips in there. And here we have a pocket I made with some of my spray inked ledger paper. It has a little pocket here. This is like a stitched on little decoupage collaged fish, and then just some little odds and ends in there. And back here are a couple of bookmarks. So this one, I've got a set of these somewhere and I can't remember where, but I thought it's really pretty. And look at this guy. Looks like some kind of a samurai. Deli paper with dyed with bleeding tissue. Little collage cluster there. Another Picasso. And this is looks like a Chinese print there. I like the yellow and blue together on that one. Writing space on the back. Little cluster there. And a cluster there. This is a Tim Holtz Flower for the flip out. This is stamped on a piece of muslin, and this is just a little tiny notepad. It's made from handmade paper. I picked these up at that little shop in Eugene. If you're ever in Eugene, Oregon, the shop is called Potol Gate, Potolgate. I think they have an online store too. All kinds of cool paper and beads and cloth. It's all just gorgeous stuff from Tibet and China, Nepal. So on this bird picture, I added some flower fussy cuts. And yeah, this is some paper I got at that shop. So I just put a piece of it. I have a big sheet of it. Isn't that cool? They're dragons. And it's like hand stamped, because if you look, you'll see they're not evenly spaced. So somebody went around and just stamped each one by hand. And the pocket is a little scrap of washi paper. Isn't that beautiful? And I love these prints. These are from this little booklet. It's the Unique Artwork, Carolyn R. Young. Yeah, it's a little booklet I have had for a while, and I decided to use a page from it. So here I decided, well, with the red, I would put some of this paper that I got. I got a whole package of it. It's just really bright red and yellow. And this is a chopstick package right there, and a piece of Joss paper. Those, I think they're so beautiful. Look at the designs. Just a word of warning, if you try to collage it, which I have, the ink definitely runs if it gets wet. So you might want to use some other method that's not going to get it so totally wet. That's some washi tape. Here's a flip out with another one of the matchbook covers. And a page from an art book. There's another page from a different art book. Oh, so the charms, yeah. So this one has, it's one of these little fringy things, and then a little Chinese coin. And the other charms were, this is the Chinese symbol for happiness, because it says so right on the back, and a little replica of a Chinese coin. There's that reason I put that page in was because of that pair. I think that's so beautiful. It's just a little part of a packaging. So here is a koi fish on a playing card in the chopstick pocket. Page from the bird book. And then I just stitched down some handmade paper there for writing space. I tore this from a magazine. I just like the rooftops of the buildings in China with their all their little points and everything. They're so intricate. Little collage cluster. This is a little scrap of the same doily that the butterfly came from. Avocado dyed paper. Another Picasso. Writing space on the back. Another one of the matchbook cover prints. And there's another one. So I stitched one on both sides, and I did all the stitching at the same time, which was kind of worked out great. So in this pocket, so it's a collage tag with some gold embossing on this little seal thing. Avocado dyed paper. And one of those funny little postcards. I like the Japanese lantern, Chinese lantern. So yeah, this is the paper towel I was using to do a little cleanup when I was avocado dyeing some paper, and I decided to save it because I just thought the color was great, so I just layered it underneath that picture there. And another one of the matchbooks ladies, which has writing space on the back. Extra writing space there. Some more of that decoupage paper from the Ukraine. Another piece of a prayer flag. Flower book. So these were fussy cut, and I decided to stitch them down. So I stitched around all of the tulips except for the purple one. I left the top of it open so it could be a little pocket. So there's this little origami geisha girl, and this little origami, it's like a napkin folded up, and these are like little chopsticks. So they just fit right down in here. Peeking out of the tulip. And that's the last page. So I will put a link to in the description. This will be in my Etsy shop, and it is for sale. And I probably won't have it listed until this afternoon, so. But I wanted to do the video first. Okay, thanks for watching.